Hey guys, welcome back to Sringaram, the podcast all about beauty. Beauty of self, beauty of life, and everything in between. My name is Girija Jairaj. I'm an Indian classical dance artist and researcher. You can see all my work under shastram.com or linktree/GirijaJ. So, it's been 2 months already since I posted my intro. I know I said I would post every month, so to make up for July, I'll post 2 episodes this month. And how was everyone's June and July? Mine was a roller coaster ride of sickness, epiphanies, and enlightenment. Also, I couldn't string a sentence without coughing in the past month. I thought I would give myself the time I needed to heal so that I can share something worthwhile with you guys. And isn't that what Sringaram is all about? So, in this podcast, I'll be sharing some thoughts, insights on love, on life, and art, and dance, and life, if I haven't said that enough. Some of it is just going to be me sharing my ramblings and notes and thoughts. Some with some amazing people I have admired through my journey in life, and some very special friends who sit on my life advisory board. We are going to talk, share, laugh, and most of all, be honest. No one really knows all the answers. And you know what? That's okay. Let's learn together. So, how did I get into this whole pursuit of Sringaram? Let me unpack this for you. Initially, Sringaram, as I mentioned, was a concept introduced to me through Indian classical dance. And I understood it as being in love and romance and being beautiful as portrayed in most dance songs. But I soon started to realize it was more than that. Because Sringaram wasn't just being in love with someone else. That almost was more like the concept of bhakti or devotion, where the love was focused on someone else or God on the outside. And Sringaram wasn't even looking conventionally beautiful. It was something deeper. I began to notice that the Sringaram I was looking for, let's say in a female dancer, was in her walk, in the way she smiled, in the way she looked not just at her lover, but at the audience, or anything in front of her, and alas, even at herself. It was in the bounce of her feet, the twirl of her hand, the way she played with the beats that moved her into that ecstasy of dance. So it seemed to me that it wasn't an external act intended toward someone else, but more like a state of being that initiated from within. In my many travels and interactions, I've tried to explore the definition of Sringaram. I believe it was in Kerala when I interviewed, apologies for pronouncing this wrong, but Kotaka Nandakumaran Nair, sir, a Kathakali exponent, that I really began to understand the concept of Sringaram. He explained that Sringaram wasn't just being in love, but the love for all of life and everything that it encapsulates, including being in love and lust tastefully. And then I started to explore this whole state of being subconsciously. My mind started to wonder, how could one love life? In order to love life, one had to love themselves. Or even better, be content and at peace and be grateful. Now, what does that entail? And oh boy, did I open up Pandora's box. In order to love myself, I went on a great big adventure of digging deep within myself. So many times life reflected to me how much I loved myself. And honestly, as heartbroken as I was, those moments made me see a new side to me, and I kept loving myself deeper and deeper. In this quest of finding beauty within myself, I started from the outside and have delved inward. My first block of loving myself was the way I looked. It was very hard for me to accept myself. There were many reasons for this. The idea I was ugly and unwanted was quite deep-seated within me. Let's begin with having to run from a war-torn country simply because I was born a certain race. Then growing up in a family of very good-looking, sharp-featured people. I definitely felt inadequate being chubby and soft-featured. I had determined in my head as a child that beauty only looked a certain way. And that meant tall, fair, slim, big eyes, sharp features. My reflection in the mirror did not fit this, although I did hope I would grow into it. As I mentioned, growing up in Australia heightened the sense of inadequacy when it came to beauty. I didn't have the right shaped legs, I had too much hair everywhere, my skin wasn't the right color or the texture, and my South Asian parents would not let me dress the way the cool girls did, or cut my hair. Everything my parents said was beautiful was considered weird in the society outside of my community. From clothes to food to even the way one looked. I was not one of the popular girls. In fact, I was a total loner who spent breaks in libraries reading or art class painting with the other goths. I was a very negative person back then who had a lot of anger within me as well, and who basically looked forward to the world ending. You should see my year 12 paintings. I scare myself with them. Then, the added pressure of being a dancer. Your body had to be a certain way. You had to look like those beautiful girls you saw on the television dancing, or the star pupils in your dance teacher's class. And beauty extended to so much more than looks. It was how you performed, how well-tempered you were, how feminine you were, how popular and successful you were, how loved and appreciated you were by your peers, your family, your friends, your love interests. Beauty had so many expectations attached to it when you were growing up, and perhaps even now. When you lack so much of this as a kid, trying to awkwardly figure out where you fit in, and if you fit in, and not having a body or the grace or the athleticism that was needed to be that ideal image of what beauty was and defined as, then how on earth was one supposed to love oneself further and find the Sringaram within oneself and to bring it into life and then bring it into your dance? It honestly felt like a mind-boggling task. But I went on a journey of self-love. The journey was to shift from not accepting myself to valuing myself in relation to how I looked, what I did, what I stood for, and who I basically was on a day-to-day basis. One thing I learned about love was that it wasn't so much about admiration initially, but acceptance. Acceptance of everything and then appreciation. Especially all the scars with oneself or in another. There is something very beautiful about embracing truth. I believe it was John Keats who said, "Truth is beauty and beauty, truth." That is all you need to know in life. The idea that authenticity is beauty. There are obviously so many layers to truth. I started with what I could, and that was the surface. I decided the first thing I needed to accept is the way I looked. So in being a chubby kid, I made sure as an adult I maintained my weight at a certain point. If I put on 2 kgs, that was like a huge trigger for self-hate and starvation. I didn't like myself if I was overweight back then. So in order to combat this weird idea in my head, I ate. I ate till I wanted to eat, and I stopped looking at the scales. I think I gained about 10 kgs overall, and I decided to love myself as someone who was not the ideal shape, and that was okay. I also started taking selfies. This might seem silly, and to an extent it is, but the whole time, what I was genuinely trying to do was accept my face. My biggest critic, as with many of us, was me, myself, and I. But the unraveling of what was beautiful in me came through my journey in life. And yes, the selfies did help, especially when others were kind enough to appreciate them. It's always interesting how we need others to tell us that we are beautiful in order to believe it. We cannot just be grateful and content for what we are. I'm pretty sure if purple ears and a crooked nose was deemed beautiful by the world, we would want those things. Another thing that made me feel very inadequate was the concept of success. Growing up with a mother like mine, who is an overachiever, making yourself useful and progressive was a huge emphasis in my life, like many other South Asians. And so I decided to stop achieving anything and just being during this experimental stage. Funny enough, it was then that I created Out of Love, and I ended up writing 10 scripts and pumping out my best season of Shastram TV. But honestly, it was not me trying to achieve anything at this time. I was just allowing my truth and creativity to flow. And when it no longer did, I just stopped. Now, dancing with Sringaram is a whole new chapter in my life. I feel I'm still on the path, to be honest. I'm just starting to feel the truth and authenticity in my movement. I also am no longer looking to appear in a certain way when I dance, but more acts as the core of who I am. To me, when I achieve this, I will achieve my full potential in Sringaram and in my movement. The above are just a few tiny examples of how I learned to love myself and find the Sringaram within me. There is so much more to this journey. I have to say, I felt much like an onion with each layer being peeled off me and a new revelation about life and love dawning into my consciousness. Many people have been part of this journey of me understanding self-love. It also includes books and quotes and even trees. I want to share all of that with you because, as I said, one of the most important elements of a dancer is Sringaram. And Sringaram, beauty, born within through self-love as well. It's a lifelong journey. In my next episode, I have a conversation with a very old friend, someone who showed me that life is a celebration and that the glass is half full always, who taught me that love is God and love just is the way God just is. And someone who made me look at the Bible and admire the love of Christ, and most of all, someone who told me that dreaming is wonderful, but all those dreams can definitely come true. Look forward to sharing all that with you. Until then, see you guys and have a wonderful day and take care of yourself.